christiangeekcentral.com. Hey guys, Peter Franson here from christiangeekcentral.com and Spirit Blade Productions. This is the beginning of a series of videos that cover the live stream that I did in February of 2018. Normally what I would do is trim down all of these into like shorter highlight videos, but I discovered that the kind of stuff that I talked about and the nature of the conversations, it didn't lend itself well to doing that this time around. So I'm experimenting a little bit for a number of reasons with just leaving it basically uncut but presented in multiple parts and with timestamps below so that you can skip around to the parts that interest you. I'd like to get your feedback on this format as opposed to the more trimmed down highlights format that I've done in the past, and maybe that will influence kind of how I handle this in the future. Anyway, hope you enjoy. Again, check out the timestamps below. Thanks. Pre-show music. This is the pre-show music. Pre-show music playing strong. Pre-show music playing long. This is the pre-show music, so you can relax and have a good time while you wait for pictures to appear. Pre-show music, it's the best thing in the world. Pre-show music, tell me what rhymes with world. Pre-show music here. Hey, pre-show music, this is the pre-show music. Pre-show music playing strong. Pre-show music playing long. This is the pre-show music, so you can relax and have a good time while you wait for pictures to appear. Pre-show music, it's the best thing in the world. Pre-show music, tell me what rhymes with world. Pre-show music here. Hey! Alright, enough of that. Let's see here. Click that button. And then that button. Alright. Hello. Time for some video games. Let's see here. Hey, Francisco. Swirled! Yes, swirled rhymes with world. And hi, Empty Mind. I did not know those were the lyrics to that song. Oh, you can tell by the way I use my walk, I'm a woman's man. I don't know, and but that's that song, right? I can never understand what they're saying. Is that the Bee Gees? All right. Let me get this fired up here. I think right about there ought to do it. All right. Yeah, Francisco, you might be the first person to actually... Well, no, yeah. I'm trying to remember another time someone has said this word rhymes, and it's a real word that rhymes with world. I think someone one time put curdled, and they probably meant to write curled, because curled rhymes with world. Hey, Brad. Welcome, and hey, Reed. Good morning or evening. Well, it's 4:02 p.m. here in Arizona, 3 p.m. Pacific time. What time is it in China? All right, so this is a just a lame attempt at a theme for a live stream that is fitting for February. A theme of love, and the best I could come up with was games I'm in love with. Oh. Last year about this time, I did a stream of like games that really frustrated me. I think it was conflicted or like conflicted live stream or conflicted gaming live stream or rage live stream or something like that. I can't remember, but games that like make me frustrated or angry or whatever. And I don't know, that was all right for a one-shot deal, but I was like, I really, even just 6 hours once a year, I don't want to do that. So I'm going to try this, and we'll see. Welcome, Grataul. And let's see here. Artistic Layman, never heard of Dragon Quest Builders. This is, it's basically like Dragon Quest or Dragon Warrior, if you're more familiar with that. In Japan, the series is called Dragon Quest. Meets Minecraft. 7:03 a.m. there in China, Reed. Well, yes, good morning. Thank you for sharing your breakfast time with me. Is this Saturday for you now, or is this Friday still? It's probably Saturday. That would be my guess. All right. Now, the last two times that I did a live stream, both Extra Life and then like 2 weeks ago for the 1,000 subscriber celebration, there were problems with the live stream. I did a bunch of... Oh, crap. Where's my signal for the PS4? Come on now. Why is that not working? Hang on. Okay, that should all be working. There we go. That looks right. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, there was just all kinds of like frame rate problems, like lots of frames were getting dropped, and people were, you know, comparing it when I asked them to like basically a slideshow where they could hear my audio okay, but like this, bam, there. It was all over the place. So I spent a few hours on a couple different nights this week just kind of troubleshooting and testing and tweaking and stuff. I don't know what the difference was because I've been using those same settings for like a year and a half without changing anything other than where I live. But I had 1 or 2 live streams in our new house that were just fine. So I don't know what the magical internet difference was starting with, you know, Extra Life. But I've got new settings now. The picture quality is not going to be quite as good. It's going to be a little more pixelated, you know, when there's a lot of movement on the screen. But I'm hoping that at least there won't be a lot of frames dropping, and you guys will be able to have a much better experience in that regard. Okay. Yes, Brad Trium, I agree. Dragon Quest Builders is fun, and kids love it too. My boys really would love to play this game, but I do not let them because they're basically cutting their teeth and learning how to treat video game consoles well on their own consoles rather than coming into my office and messing up mine. They can have supervised time on my PS4, but let's see here. Okay, good. So far, video and audio are good. Thank you. Yeah, Brad Trium says, I've had it a year and I'm still in Chapter 2. I can totally understand that because I was really into this game for a while. And then I just kind of reached a point where I was like, I think I'm done for a while on this. And I think part of it has to do with the somewhat open-ended nature, where it helped to have the quest system. Like, I don't think I could just do Minecraft without, like, a goal to work toward constantly being given to me, you know? That said, I am now in the post-game, and this is a world that you can freely create in, at least on the main island that you exist on. And so I made this track so that it would conveniently go out to one of the portals. There are like 4 or 5 portals to worlds that you can visit in this post-game, you know, land. And there are still monsters in those worlds. You know, like the portal places that you visit. Like, let me see what this is. And you can still, you know, have combat experiences and fight guys to get the components that they drop for crafting, you know. And these islands you can visit are different from the islands, the lands that you go to in the game, but they have relationships to them in terms of, like, You know, Island 2 is going to have all the kinds of enemies and land mass type stuff and plants and stuff that you saw in Chapter 2. And I don't know if I'm going to need some goo here from these blue slimes, but it might come in handy. Because I might need more torches. I've got some tricks and plans in mind for back at my home base. What would be cool is if they would allow you to have this entire world, access to this entire endgame world from the very start, but you have access to your main island that you can free build on without worrying about enemies. You have access to that pretty close to the beginning of the campaign, but the other portals that open up, that you, like this one, to other lands, you get as you unlock chapters in the game. And so, as a result, there are certain components you can only get in the free build post-game world after finishing the campaign. In fact, some recipes are even locked unless you do certain things in the main campaign, which is kind of a bummer, because one of the things that will unlock a little bit of the the best armor and weapons, I think, in this world, or maybe not the best, but just some cool weapons and armor, are if you take on the final boss without using the best armor in the game. You know, I'm like, oh, that's kind of lame. I mean, I get that for maybe for trophy hunting, you know, if you want to have some kind of trophy reward or achievement reward for that, but if you're just talking about the content I can play with in the post game, come on, don't force me to take on dumb challenges that I don't find fun in order to get the most out of the free build environment. Let's see here. Oh, Brad's got to take off for his haircut. Okay, thanks for coming by, Brad. Mortallo says, I get distracted by either schoolwork, socializing, or some other game. Yeah. It's funny, it used to be that I would only play one game at a time, and I think that was just because there were fewer games coming out of the kind that I could complete, because I'm terrible at games. But the way they make games now allows me to complete a ton of action games that I never would have even bothered trying once upon a time. I mean, back in the day, Contra was very typical of some action games. I can't do that. I couldn't even finish Super Mario Bros. 1. But anyway, let me catch up on the comments here. Francisco Ruiz says, I tend to be a bit more of a completionist these days, wanting to beat a game before I let myself buy more. That's good. That's good for controlling spending. Faux show. Alright, so I'm going to go back to my main world. So anyway, this is back to the theme of this stream, is games I'm in love with. This is different from what I did at the end of the summer, beginning of fall, however you want to reckon that, where it was my all-time favorite games live stream. Because some of the games on that list were not games that I'm currently in love with, currently really enjoying a lot. Some of the games were games that I wouldn't even necessarily play again, because there are, other games that I would currently enjoy playing more. So this collection of games for tonight is all games that I either currently or very recently have really been enjoying. And this one I kind of lost interest in for a while after hitting the post-game. There was even a time I took a break from it when I was playing through the campaign. But I just kind of developed a purpose for the post-game. I found a mission for myself. And that is to create a little bit of something I can use for a potentially new intro to my I Like Games video series, which the ones, if you watch them now, it's video game footage intercut with a stop time-lapse, photography thing of me creating the words "I like games" out of board game pieces. And I might want to update that or create an alternate version of that that's just focused on video game content. In which case, this is my castle that I built. In which case, I would use this instead. Ta-da! And I did all just created the basic letters out of dirt. And what I thought I could start doing during this live stream is actually kind of decorating them the way I want, because I don't want the letters to all be brown. Of course, I want them to stand out. And then I could, make a little video of me this guy riding this train through my environment, and then kind of like the big reveal at the end is when he gets to the top and he steps out onto the ledge and zooms out, says I like games. So, hello, Archsaint. Welcome, welcome. Going AFK for away from keyboard. That's what that means. I learned that from watching a documentary a few years ago. Alright, so let's see. So my newfound purpose in this game is to decorate these things. What was I going to decorate? I was going to use colored cubes, I think. Oh yeah, I was going to go white, green, I think. So, since white and green are kind of some typical colors, they're the colors of the logo for Christian Geek Central. So I'm going to need a boatload of green cubes. Let me make some of... I want to see these two greens in action. See what they look like. Alright, so let's go to... there they are. Swap that with this, and swap that with this, and see what they look like. Just make a big... oh, wait. Oh, okay, let's see. I'll do it like this. Oh, they make a weird noise. I'm not used to... It was making like a techno beat there. So let me see what that looks like. And then I'll actually jump over here and see what this other green looks like. Usually it makes a different noise when you lay things down. That was really unexpected. Empty Mind says, I'm drawing a comic book while watching this quality content. Well, thank you for that description. What kind of comic book? Is this like a superhero thing or a different genre? That is so funny. That sound. Okay, good. It's daytime now, so I'll be able to see it in daytime. That is like glowing green. Holy cow. Alright, let me jump up here. Let me see what the chalk white looks like. Woo. That would normally kill me, but I have some boots on that prevent damage from falling. Let's see, where's my chalk? Let's see. Ratal, AFK. Oh, Reed, you were saying before that AFK sounds like a band name. I thought I read that wrong. I thought it was a brand name. And then Gratel says, a band about doing nothing. Yeah. Yeah, Arch Saint, this game is very similar to Minecraft. It just kind of has a Dragon Quest skin over it, although you can't... The inner workings of it aren't near as complex as Minecraft. I mean, the stuff that you can build and create and kind of like the internal logic and physics, if you will, of Minecraft, so much more complex than this game. Empty Mind says it's sort of a weird fiction superhero genre. Okay, cool. Well, I like me some superheroes, and I used to like collect comics regularly, but haven't in a number of years, just because I lost interest in kind of what DC Comics was doing. That was my publishing company of choice. Alright, so this is the standard chalk white. Let me see what it looks like next to these greens here. I mean, if I change my mind about which green, if, you know, at the end, it wouldn't take that much work to swap, oops, to swap out, excuse me, to swap out a different, swap in, I should say, a different green. Hey, Union Night Gaming, it's my nephew. Says, hi Uncle Peter, what is your Steam name so I can add you? It's Sam. Hey Sam. What is my Steam name? I think it might be Paterboy. But like I said the other day, I'm like never on Steam. So I don't do, so I promise, if I don't interact with you there, it's not because I'm ignoring you. I just don't do any of the social stuff on Steam, and almost, you know, never use it either. It's there for the games I can't get on GOG.com. Oh yeah, Archsaint. It's not. I don't think it is on PC, but I'm wondering if it's coming. No, it's coming to Switch. I don't know if it's coming to PC. Let's see here. On the way over, it says, oh, both color and texture, so you get to build the entire area. Yeah, and that's the big deal to me, is that it's got nice text. It looks nice to my eye compared to the, you know, the really barfy retro graphics look that Minecraft is going for, you know, which I think for a lot of people that's kind of a cool, you know, novelty, but I grew up in the era of blocky graphics. It is not a novelty to me, so I always said, you know, hey, if Minecraft ever looked good, I might be interested in it, and so this is the closest thing to a good-looking Minecraft. I do kind of like that really bright green, but I think I'm going to use the darker one. I think I'm going to use the darker one. I think it fits the... I think it's closer to the colors for the Christian Geek Central logo. So, let's see here. Gratal says, Marvel is awful these days. Every story is a political message. LOL. Are you talking about the comics? I don't pick up on, you know, really heavy political messaging in the movies. Reed Benson says, I kind of miss reading comics regularly, but don't miss spending all that money every week. Yes, thank you very much. I always loved Comic Book Wednesdays. That was like for years. I mean, like for over a decade. I regularly went and bought comics at my local comic shop, had a box there. Every Wednesday. It was like a holiday in the middle of the week. It was so great. So cool. But then I lost interest in the stories. And, I mean, I had been budgeting for my comic book spending, so I didn't feel relief financially when I stopped, but what I suddenly noticed was, holy crap, I have this surplus of fun money that I never had before, and I don't think, you know, I think it was not just a coincidence that my video game hobby kind of grew at that point, because I was able to start experimenting, and I had, you know, some money that I didn't have before to take a risk on a game that I might not like, that I normally wouldn't have risked any money on, but suddenly I had some where I could, you know, so I was able to start really branching out, I think. Let's see here. I can't keep up with you guys. Lots of great chatting going on. Gratal says, yes, I meant the comic books. The movies are still good. Okay, yeah. I might have heard something about that. DC's been doing that a good amount, too. As from what when I left off with them. I think I've talked about this before, so I apologize for repeating myself, but I remember I used to watch... what is that thing? Comic-Con. I used to watch the press... what are they called? The conference? When they went into the... What are those called? They're not press conferences, dang it. It's when they... Oh, the panels. The panels. I used to watch those because they used to put them on online. They don't really do that anymore. I mean, some people will bootleg them, but they used to officially, you know, put them on so you could watch them. And they really haven't been doing that as much, to my knowledge. But anyway, the last time they were really doing that, I remember the Q&A time, like every third person was saying something about, when are we going to see more diversity? When are we going to see more representation of, you know, minorities and, you know, unrepresented demographics and stuff like that? And so there was a lot, there's just a lot of that going on in the audience, at least, that was attending Comic-Con. And they kept reassuring them, we are going to do more. We're going to, and sure enough, they did. It was like watching them reading stories was like I could see the demographic boxes being checked one after another. And I don't have a problem with that in and of itself. Okay, fine. I don't think they're going to get around to representing an evangelical Christian in comic books, but whatever. I don't look to fiction for my identity or representation or whatever. What I also noticed, I don't know if that was related at the time, but what I also noticed was just a downturn in stories that I felt like I really cared about, you know? So, I don't know if it's kind of like some priorities were causing some sacrifices in certain things that I like behind the scenes, but that was the beginning of the end for me and my regular comic book buying. I still will now and then buy trade paperbacks. I'm reading through the Marvel Ultimate Universe stuff. Let's see here. Grittal says, I hear DC lighten up on the politics lately. It was pretty bad though too, LOL. Interesting, yeah. They've got that whole initiative that it's like their second shot at a reboot, I feel like. New 52 was the first one. I really disliked that. That's when it all went south for me, really. And then Rebirth is the thing they've been doing for a while now, which I'm still waiting for that to all play out. It's like, okay, just make all the changes and then tell me when I can get the trade paperback so I can see what the new status quo is. You know, then I'll decide if I want to get back into comic book collecting. Reed Benson says, I kind of worry that the movies will get political in this age of Trump. Yeah, I don't know. That would be interesting. That would be lame. That would be lame. Gritella says one of the villains in Spider-Gwen, there's a series called Spider-Gwen, was a giant floating head of Donald Trump. This is way too funny for me to be annoyed though, LOL. Oh my gosh. Oh man, crazy. Alright, how many more of these can I build? A boatload! Let's do that again. Definitely gonna need more. And wow, I can make 30 with just one piece of chalk. That's awesome. So I have my usual assortment of streaming treats, including potato chips, just generic brand from our local grocery store chain, and donuts from Quick Trip. No Boston cream this time. They were out, so I got 2 to make up for the fact that I couldn't get my one glorious Boston cream, and then I have my Pepsi, which is returned to retro labeling, which does not improve the flavor, but Pepsi's flavor cannot be improved upon, so. Mmm! Yeah! Let's see here. Francisco Ruiz says, Peter, are you at all excited about Shazam? I ask mainly because it is the only DC movie I'm actually interested in seeing. Well, after Justice League ended up just being not at all the Justice League movie I wanted to see, I don't really have any excitement for the DC Universe movies. Yeah, I don't. So, I'm gonna go see it. And I probably, even if I wasn't reviewing movies, I don't know if I would see it or not. I would probably still see it. I would probably still see Aquaman and Shazam. I'm very curious about it. I think there's a lot of potential with that character, but I think they could also really mess it up too. I mean, I think that they don't know how to do Clark Kent. So if they don't know how to do Clark Kent and really play that up, sometimes writers, I don't think, understand the difference between Clark Kent and Billy Batson. Or at least, in my opinion, how those characters could really work best. Billy Batson, I think, works really well when he's, you know, a kid, and when Captain Marvel has that kind of kid-like quality to him, even though he has the wisdom of Solomon going for him while he's in Shazam form. Used to be Captain Marvel. I'm still training myself to call him Shazam and not Captain Marvel. I think I'll always kind of think of him as Captain Marvel, but let's do chalk here. Oh, dang it! That was too fast. Whereas I feel like Clark is not childlike. Sometimes he's written as childlike and naive, and I don't think that's the right way to go with Clark either. And that's not usually how he's written, but I'm thinking of a specific episode of the Justice League animated series. It was the Christmas episode where they went home and, like, Clark still believes in Santa Claus in that episode. I'm like, what the crap? But yeah, I'm definitely curious to see what they'll do, how they'll envision that character. Did you guys hear this news that Joaquin Phoenix is in talks to play the Joker in a standalone Joker movie? Really bizarre, really bizarre. Like, this is confirmed that he's in talks. This is not a weird rumor. And this would be separate from the established continuity of DC movies. That's weird. I don't know what to do with that. The only thing, I mean, I think it would be really weird if they're trying to build a unified universe, which I'm wondering if that is actually going to start falling out of favor at some point, because what I've noticed with Marvel is that they almost seems to be, the way their scripts are written, seems to be an obligation to introduce the next spin-off character, like constantly, you know, create more spin-off characters. There's a lot of attention paid now in Marvel movies compared to, I feel like, earlier on, to playing up the continuity between the movies. And I mean, I have issues with the Marvel movies that I won't get into, you know, that aren't related to that. But I mean, I wouldn't want DC to go that heavy on the continuity either. I think it's cool to just have these things existing in the same universe and have references to that, and maybe have some interaction now and then between the movies. But I'm not necessarily interested in, like, multiple movies that are all kind of part of one big story. I think that just really limits the potential of what the individual stories could be about and the tones that they could have and stuff. So, am I out of chalk already? I gotta go buy more chalk. Hi, Dark Emerald. Welcome, welcome. Let's see here. I've missed some chat, guys. Sorry. Awesome that you guys are so active in conversing. Yeah, Reed, I totally agree that when you say the DC movies version of Clark isn't a good disguise for Superman, he looks handsome and walks with confidence just like Superman. I feel like I've done a couple videos talking about how they should do Clark. And so I won't get into that now, but I totally agree. They are totally missing the potential they could be tapping into with Superman that would make him the most relatable character. Instead of people think of him as like, oh, he's so hard to write, he's so unrelatable. Oh my gosh. You get Clark Kent right, and he becomes the most relatable comic book to every nerd in the most relatable character to every nerd in the world. Let's see here. Francisco Reese says, yeah, make a standalone Batman Beyond, please. Oh, that would be interesting. Let me get out some more chalk. I'm gonna have to go mine for more soon. Alright, let's see here. Yeah, Gratal, that's a good observation. Marvel focuses on individual characters first instead of one big story. Lore doesn't intersect until later. That's true. Like, yeah, that's true. I think maybe it's, I'm trying to think of the movies where I feel like they've been playing, like, Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know if it was the first one or the second one, where they brought Sylvester Stallone in, and they were doing something with him, and I'm like, what is this character doing here? And it ended up just being a setup, you know? So there are moments like that are just kind of like, I feel like setup moments. And, yeah, it's really... And then, yeah, don't get me started on Justice League. Don't get me started on Justice League. I want that Snyder cut. We're not going to get it, but I would love it. I want that Snyder cut. Let's put some green over here now. Ooh, Empty Mind says, give me some Static Shock, please. Yeah, that would be cool. Is DC doing much with the Milestone characters these days? Are they, like, part of the New 52 much? Yeah, Francisco, Static Shock, he actually had a cartoon series once upon a brief while. And Milestone, he was part of the Milestone initiative, which was like a branding... I'm trying to think. I think initially it was independent of DC, and then it became part of DC... Maybe it was published by DC, but not part of the continuity of the DC Universe initially? I don't know. Whether it was external to DC or published by DC, I can't remember, but eventually it was published by DC and incorporated into the DC Universe, and that's the Milestone universe, which was a, was an inclusivity kind of, demographic initiative to bring, to create more African-American characters. That's my impression of what was a big part of that initiative. And it's got a significant following. I mean, there's a number of people that really like those Milestone characters, especially Static Shock, I think. Or Static. Was the name of the book Static Shock and he just went by Static? I can't remember now. Okay, so there's that. And then... Woo! Made it. Yeah, Gratel says, DC opened with Batman v Superman, Suicide Squad, Justice League, etc. All lore-based movies. The only good one was an origin story that only focused on Wonder Woman. Well, I disagree with that, but I do think it's interesting that they went so lore-heavy with... was Man of Steel lore-heavy? I don't remember much lore in Man of Steel. Yeah, Batman vs Superman was interesting how much... I think that... yeah, I think it could have worked a little better. It's just an interesting... Yeah, it was interesting. When they initially did that, I was like, I don't... When I heard that they were gonna, call it Dawn of Justice and have it be this introduction, I was like, oh, why aren't they doing it like Marvel's doing it? That makes more sense to me. And it may be that would work better for most audiences, that format, that way of portioning out the lore. What kind of made me more open to it before I went to the theater to see that movie was remembering how I was introduced to the DC Universe, and that was... Oh, I gotta get more chalk. And that was through a major crossover event. I was vaguely familiar with some DC characters that I'd seen in Super Friends when I was a kid, a cartoon show. Basically a Justice League cartoon show, if you've never heard of it. Oh, can I get up? No, I gotta go this way. Oops! And it was Crisis on Infinite Earths, was this huge event that reset the continuity of the DC Universe back in 1985. And I didn't read it in 85, I read it years later, I found all the back issues, but I was like, I want to find out about this event. It was a huge event in the world of comics, let alone, you know, DC Comics by itself. And I didn't know who these characters a lot, and most of the characters were. I was like, just being introduced, because it was like every character in the DC Universe was crammed into that miniseries. And I felt in some ways kind of lost, and as far as like who certain characters were and the relationships to each other. But that was a starting point where it was like there were certain characters that I was, oh, this character's interesting to me. And so then I would go and check out his solo book. And then the same thing years later when I read Justice League and kind of got all this more bang for my buck. I had all these different characters all in one comic, and that was cool. And then the ones I was curious about based on what I saw of them in Justice League, I would go and check out their solo books. And so, at least on paper, I can see the reasoning behind trying to do it that way. But yeah, whether or not it succeeded in that regard, I think is kind of overshadowed by tonal issues, which I think were a much larger problem for most audience members that I heard about with Batman vs. Superman than they were having problems with, like, lore and how that was portioned out. So yeah, it's interesting approach. Let's see here. Oh, hi, Just Jeremy. A lot farther in Dragon Quest and Dragon Quest Builders. Yeah, I finished the campaign. This is the post. I keep looking over there because that's where the chat is. I should be looking here at you guys. Sorry. This is the post-game world where you can you start on one island that you can freely create on and visit other islands where you can do combat and stuff. Let's see here. Gratau, Man of Steel wasn't connected with the current DC movies from what I remember. Not in terms of its story, really. The Batman vs. Superman took place kind of in the wake of the massive city-destroying events of Man of Steel. So, and it's the same actors involved and stuff, so it's the same continuity. But yeah, it didn't have a heavy story connection. Let's see here. Okay, Union Knight. A year from now when I get on Steam, I'll look for that. Let's see here. Hi, Dark Emerald, welcome. Let's see here. How much? Oh, I got 85 chalk. I'm gonna do a little more than that. I need to do some serious mining. I came back prematurely. Let's see, what time is it? I probably shouldn't spend a ton more time on this game. I got a lot of games to get through if I'm gonna try and get through all the games on my list. More than 6, so I gotta spend less than an hour on each game. But finishing this sign might be my... oh, I gotta make more hammers! That's why I was heading back. Dummy, come on, Pater. Man, even when I'm doing this brainless, kind of like just chill out type of gaming, I still don't have the brain power to multitask, to do this and chat with you guys at the same time. It was nice to not have to think so hard to try to process 2 things at once 2 weeks ago when we did the when we did that live stream. But that was just an hour. I've asked for the last 3 live streams, I've asked my sister Corinne to sit with me. And she's always been willing, but never able because of her schedule. But it's nice to have her around, bounce things off of. Francisco says, hammer time, can't touch this. I was like, huh. I guess he just wants to talk about MC Hammer right now. I didn't make the connection. Gretel says, how often do you stream? Not very often. I would guess about every... I tried about a year ago, or a little over a year ago, to try and get on about a quarterly basis. So about maybe every 3 months. After this stream, there will be a longer gap than 3 months, because the next stream I'm specifically doing to kind of coincide with E3. I did that last year. The last 2 years, actually, I've done a stream that is like kind of after E3, and so I'm going to do that again this year. Oops, I forgot to equip. So the next time I stream will be, let's see, E3's in early or mid-June, I want to say, so it'll be like the middle or back half of June, so it'll be a little while after this one. And I was a little worried at the beginning of this stream that, like, oh, because I only saw like one person in the chat, I was like, oh no, I shouldn't have done this so soon after just doing that little 1 hour stream 2 weeks ago. But then all of you lovely people flooded in here to join Empty Mind, who was there right at the get-go, Empty Mind. Which, I think, Empty Mind, your username isn't familiar to me. My memory's crappy, so I might just be forgetting it. Have we interacted before? Under either on a live stream like this or somewhere else where you've used a different name? I always love it when I see usernames I don't recognize. That's really cool for me. Let's see here. Oh, speaking of Empty Mind, he asks, how about a Captain Britain movie? I'm not very familiar with Captain Britain. I knew who he was once upon a time. When I was in junior high in 7th grade, I bought the Encyclopedia of Superheroes by Jeff Rovin. And this was before I was collecting comic books regularly, which I didn't start doing until college, actually. I've been a superhero fan all my life, but I didn't like collect comics on a weekly basis until college. But I read about Captain Britain. That's where I've heard of him before, is my Encyclopedia of Superheroes, which is not on my bookshelf, but I'm really excited, guys, because I finally was able to go to IKEA today and buy the remaining unit, which, like, right behind my, let's see, in my little box in here, you can see some wall right behind my head. That will, hopefully after this weekend, be replaced by the final bookshelf unit that'll go up behind me. I bought one more at IKEA that matches these, and then 3 of those extension things that go on top, which you might not ever be able to see those in any of the videos I make. I'm not sure. My camera settings might always be too low, but very excited because then I'll be able to have all my books out, and I've got some cool books that have been in boxes since we moved here last April, and I couldn't justify. Yeah, I didn't have room for them. I didn't have a place to put them because the buyers of our previous house, one of the things they requested was that we leave behind the bookshelves that were in my office there, you know, and so we agreed to that, knowing that we'd have to wait a while to repurchase bookshelves for my office. And so I'm very excited. This will now complete my bookshelf needs, and I'll be able to get, and so I'll now have easy access to things that I don't really need to have access to, but that are kind of cool to have access to when I feel like pulling out my Encyclopedia of Superheroes or my Encyclopedia of Supervillains, which are way out of date now. Way out of date, because it was like published in like 89 or 90 or something like that, but it still has a lot of cool information in it. All right. Francisco Ruiz says, Pater, his memory is crappy and so are his editing skills, apparently. Yeah, they are. I feel like I'm getting better, but not faster. There's less pops in my audio. Something with my video editing software, I'm not sure what's going on, but oftentimes when I cut two pieces of video together, as it transitions from one clip to the other, it'll create a little pop sound in the audio. And so after I stitch the different clips together, then I have to go through and manually remove these little pops as they appear in the waveform. I have to, you know, put a little quick dip in the audio so you don't hear that. So it's really a pain. So hopefully, you know, at least it's nicer to not have those pops during video clip transitions in the videos when I edit them down. Let's see here. It's Icon Studios. Oh, I haven't seen Oh! Empty Mind is Icon Studios. Oh, okay. Oh, wait, are you reacting to somebody else? Empty Mind, are you Icon Studios? Or are you talking to Icon? I don't know. I'm lost. How did you leave the maze alive? If that's directed at me, I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry. If you could clarify, I can maybe try to answer that for you. Oh, Union Knight, or Sam, you're getting parts for a computer. Papa Jim was telling me that there was some computer building going on over there, and I think, sorry guys, little family talk here, and your cousins, your Van Zant cousins, I think, are making computers too, building computers right now too. Oh, hey, another cousin. Hey, Annie. All kinds of family going on today. How are you guys doing in Indiana? Oops. Come on now. There we go. Alright, that's gotta be good for now. And then I'm gonna be done building for a little while after I use up this chalk. Let's see here. Oh, I forgot to... Oh, wait, no, I have stairs over there. Oh, wait, no, those stairs don't work. Okay, so... these stairs are broken. Let me do this. Oops. No, let's do this. No, that's good enough. We'll go here. Alright, now we're back in it to win it. Sam and Annie, this is probably the most you'll hear me talk. I keep fairly quiet when I'm visiting out east. But here I gotta blab. It's a live stream, so I gotta be all blabby, chatty, talky. Gotta dance, monkey, dance! Dance to get those clicks! Oh, YouTube. Oh, internet. Let's see here. Have you seen Over the Garden Wall? Over the Garden... Have I seen Over the Garden Wall? Is that a name of... Is Over the Garden Wall the name of a book or a movie or a show? I evidently haven't seen it. Unless you're just talking about... Unless you're, like, looking at my house via, like, Google Maps or something, and you see a garden wall and my neighbors... We don't have a garden. Maybe my neighbors have a garden. In which case, yeah, I've looked in their backyard once or twice. Let's see here. Oh! Annie Corbett says, Justice is Dark Emerald. Well, hi, Justice! It's always so funny to discover people's usernames, and either people that I know in real life, or a lot of times people that I've connected with on, say, like the Christian Geek Central forums, or some other kind of sort of Facebook or something, you know, people will use different names, and so, let's see. Oh, am I gonna have to make more of these? I think I had some more. Oh, Over the Garden Wall is a short cartoon series. Huh, okay. That still sounds like a techno beat. That's so funny. Oh yeah, I got a bunch more. This has kind of been my chill-out activity while watching Vikings lately. I just recently started watching Vikings on Amazon Prime, and have been enjoying it. It's especially since it's almost fantasy, almost, and arguably could be thought of as fantasy. You know, I mean, they have the supernatural aspects of the story that they kind of portray in a creative way, where you could choose to view it as it's all in their minds, or you could choose to view it as like these are actual supernatural realities. But it's very character driven. That's the big thing for me, and serious. You know, generally very dark and serious, and that's how. I'm an oddball like that these days. It seems like kind of like light and, you know, I don't want to say fun, because for me, dark, serious fiction is fun, depending on what you mean by fun. But, you know, just lighter tone stuff seems to be what's really resonating with people in large numbers today. Which I have this is just a wild hypothesis. I don't have anything more than anecdotal data to back this up. Just anecdotal data based on, you know, a few people I've interacted with personally and online as well. That when people are just kind of experiencing just a lot of stress in life, or just some difficult things in life, their tastes in entertainment tend to be, they tend to want some stuff that's lighter, you know. And so if that's true, and that's a significant factor, I'm wondering if we're actually in a time where anxiety and depression are significantly on the rise, but people just aren't really talking about it or recognizing it in themselves. And could that be a reason why that kind of entertainment, that with a lighter, funnier tone, is becoming increasingly popular? I wonder. I don't know. Like I said, wild speculation, but... let's see here. Empty Mind, I've not heard of the GameCube world. Is that like a show, like a podcast? I mean, I've heard of GameCube, certainly. Union Night Gaming asks, if you're going to be playing a Tom Clancy game, have you played Rainbow Six Siege? And if so, is it good? I am going to be playing a Tom Clancy game later tonight. It's not that, though. I normally would not be into that. I'm going to be playing later on Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands later on. In fact, I'm going to start something else, not Ghost Recon right now. I'm going to start something else right now. But let's see what kind of progress I've made first, see how these are shaping up. Let's see here. Oh yeah, I can see that working. So my plan is I'm just going to keep alternating white green until I get through games, and then I think I'm also going to put little torches, maybe, on the borders, like surrounding them or something. I'm not sure. Maybe it won't need that. That's standing out pretty well against the background. So anyway, yeah. That's turning out nicely. And then once I finish that, I'll record it and use that footage probably in some kind of an intro at some point. And then I'll probably be done with this game forever. It's funny though, I mean, this is an exception to the rule for me when it comes to the tone I typically like in games. The tone I typically like is much more serious and less cartoony than Dragon Quest Builders, but I think there is some nostalgia at play in Dragon Quest Builders because of my love of at least Dragon Warrior for the NES, and I've enjoyed some of the Dragon Quest series as well since then. All right. ChristianGeekCentral.com